Welcome to another episode of Completely Unoriginal, your source for all things nerd, pop culture, and movie here at Dakota Broadcasting. I'm Kurt Campbell. With me, as always, Adam St. Paul. Hi, Adam.
How's it going?
Doing well, although I'm a little bit sad.
Okay.
I haven't made it to see Mad Max Fury Road yet.
I have not as well, so you're not alone in that regard.
Well, I know a whole lot of other people did because it had a nearly $45 million opening weekend. If it wasn't for that dumb singing movie, Pitch Perfect 2.
A lot of people calling that kind of a failure to start things off.
Some would say it is, although I have a feeling that with the word of mouth, the reviews, and people talking about it, I have a feeling it's going to have really strong staying power at or near the top for a while.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the idea of that sticking around, and it's hard for me to say what a great film it is because we haven't seen it, but I mean, if you just trust the overwhelming opinion of the masses, yes, it is. Looks like it's going to be wonderful. So
I'm excited. I cannot wait, and that's part of what we were going to talk about today, is the success of the film, not only financially but as a film in general. Specifically, I guess as a post-apocalyptic action film. It's just blowing people away with the way it is put together.
Well, there's one thing that I think is super interesting about this movie, and that is George Miller returning to a character and a world and a project that he hasn't tackled for 30 years. And not only that, people might not realize that this movie was in production hell for, I wouldn't call it hell, but it was a long, long process. So long, Kurt, that when George Miller originally penned the screenplay or began developing the film and everything like that, Mel Gibson was originally his choice to reprise his role as Mad Max.
Well, it would have made sense. He'd played him 3 times before.
Oh, I get that, but my point is, think of how
that's how long it's been.
How long Mel Gibson has been completely irrelevant and untouchable when it comes
about
to
a decade at least.
Exactly. So this movie's been a long time coming, and from everything that I read and hear, and I'm looking forward to seeing it naturally, but everything I hear and read, it is going to be, outstanding. And how often, I wanted to kind of talk about other directors returning to movies and franchises after years off and seeing what happens. Not a ton come to mind. It's actually, that's why it makes it so impressive. It's a rarity that happens. You know what I'm saying?
I'll try and think of a few examples. You got George Miller, who by all accounts has not only gone back to make a good film, but the best film in the series that he started 40 years ago.
That's what people are saying.
Now, I haven't seen it, so I can't say. We're going to have to wait till we both see it and then come back and tell what we think. But look at what happened with Coppola, okay? He made Godfathers 1 and 2 in the 70s, and then it was, the 90s before Godfather 3. So that's about a 20-year gap. Before that happened, and it didn't work well for Coppola at all. Casting his daughter in that one role, really not the brightest move either, by the way, Francis. But
no.
It has its moments. It's not a horrible film if you take her out of it. It's really not horrible. But,
It pales in comparison.
It's a pale imitation.
To what was the original first two Godfather movies. Right. One that I think of that more recently, Wes Craven returning to Scream.
Yes.
He was away from that for several years, came back in Scream 4 or whatever it was that he reprised with that.
It was a moderate success.
It was a moderate success, but more than not, that one was kind of that wasn't seen with as much favor and fun as the other one was.
Right. That's for sure.
And also, Craven came back and he redid New Nightmare.
He was a producer, though. He like an executive producer in name only on that.
No.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the New Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not
Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yes, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That one, though, was not necessarily the biggest box office success, but
it was
critically, that one was viewed as just great and good simply because it did something different,
and the fans really did love it.
Exactly. So it can be done, but for George Miller who's 70 years old to come back and to do what he is doing now is just, it's amazing. It's unbelievable that he's able to recapture everything that he once had in those Mad Max movies. And it's been a long time since I've seen the original.
G'day, let me get in
Mad
here
Max.
and do this right. You little jerks, you're not doing your films right.
Yes, exactly. I believe that. And then, you know what? He can go and create another Babe just because he has the ability. He has the ability to tell all sorts of stories, which is very, very impressive.
The man is a very unique, a visionary filmmaker. The man has a very an amazing way of. What other filmmaker can you think of has such diversity in his films to go from Mad Max to Babe to Happy Feet, an animated film, and then all suddenly back into the post-apocalyptic kind of punk western flavor of Mad Max? Who
I would
does
say,
that?
I mean, maybe not on the same scale, but Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he does.
He
do a
has
lot
the
of
ability to
genres.
do horror, and he has the ability to do thrillers, and he also has the ability to do family-friendly and stuff. I would say Spielberg would be one, but I'll tell you what, that's some pretty high esteem to be, when you're getting compared to Steven Spielberg, for sure.
Just for your diversity and ability to direct those kinds of films. Some people have a certain style and a certain genre or limited scope that they're good in. But these guys just defy expectations at every turn.
Yes,
so it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. There's no doubt. Kurt, I wanted to bring up something, and I didn't. This is out of left field, kind of. So
okay.
I don't expect you to know someone right off the top of your head, but I got someone in mind.
Okay.
But Matthew McConaughey has recently come out, and he has said that he is open to playing a DC or Marvel superhero. He might want in, the McConaissance might want in on the superhero craze at this point. First off, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, if he wants to, that's fine. The hard part is finding an appropriate character for him. I don't know who he'd play in a Marvel or DC superhero universe. There's no Southern dope-smoking bongo-playing character from Texas that's going to show up. I don't know.
Well, there is a a comic book series out right now by Image called Southern Bastards. That isn't a superhero, but it is a comic book adaptation. They're not making it into a TV show or anything, but he could play. If you specifically want him to do Southern, then there you go, right there. I thought what he would do. I have one character in mind that I thought he would do really well.
Okay,
and that's Animal Man. Animal Man is a lesser-known DC superhero.
Okay.
And he's got kind of some weird powers, and like I said, he's not crazy well known amongst like non-comic book nerds and everything. However, Grant Morrison cut his teeth. You know, he really got into. He did the Invisibles before he did Animal Man and everything, I believe. But this is where he got his first forte into A, superheroes, and B, like one of the two major publishers.
Okay.
And he was allowed to kind of just do whatever he wanted with it, and that's why it is weird. It is a weird comic book, and it's super meta. In fact, at one point, Animal Man meets Grant Morrison in the comic book, and if a spoiler alert for anyone who wants to pick it up and read, at the end of Morrison's run, the Animal Man, the character Animal Man, realizes that he is a comic book character, almost in the form of a Deadpool, and I see you. He's like looking at the reader, and he says, "I see you," with big bold letters, and it's all white behind him. That's like the final panel and everything like that. So it's very meta, and it's in perfect Grant Morrison style, high concept, and philosophy and everything. But just imagine, Matthew McConaughey, trying to be all philosophified about Animal Man. Man, I'm just a man turning into animals and finding my place in this world.
Time is a flat circle, and animals like to run across it just like men do.
Yeah, that means we're not too far apart, us man and animal. See, it writes itself.
That's unfortunately what would happen. It was end up writing itself after some drug-fueled Hollywood weekend. And that's what we'd get.
I like the idea.
I think he's got the ability, if they can find the right character, he could pull off. He's got the charisma. I don't know what he'd do. I'm at a loss.
I don't know. The reconnaissance might be over because Interstellar. I rewatched Interstellar recently, and I really, besides visually, which it is mind blowing, I really didn't enjoy that film.
Okay, well, you're not alone. It's kind of a polarizing film.
Yeah,
people either loved it or they hated it. It seems like there's not a whole lot of middle ground.
I'm just an astronaut farmer on this crazy place we call Earth.
All right. What are you growing? You don't want to know. It ain't legal.
No.
But anyway. Well, unless you're in Colorado or Washington or anyway.
Is there any other stories around the world?
Well, actually, I wanted to go with McConaughey, and the reconnaissance may be over. You're right there, because I mentioned this to you the other day, is his new film at Cannes with Naomi Watts getting boos and laughs from screenings.
Mm-hmm.
People are dismissing it and scoffing at his new film. It was like something Walk in the Trees or something Trees. I forget what it's called, but
okay.
So he might be having, he might have had his few minutes, but now he might be slipping back to his romantic comedy rom-com character days. I mean, an Oscar will last a while, but after, that sheen will rub off if you make a bunch of turkeys.
Yeah, I hear you. One more thing I kind of wanted to touch on then before we, call her quits for today.
And can we not talk about Supergirl because it's horrible?
Oh, we should talk about Supergirl.
Okay.
Did you see that?
You showed me the trailer.
I did show you the trailer.
It's a TV series.
And we don't have Tony with us this week, and I know he showed,
maybe we should save it for him.
I'm gonna say let's shelve it because he showed it to me, and I think he had some big opinions on.
I've got some big opinions on what I saw, and believe me, I'll be glad to share them. But we'll just save that for later. So that's a teaser for you.
Yes.
A Supergirl discussion will be coming,
yes.
And you'll want to join us for that if you're curious about that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing I wanted to talk about, I actually wanted to give a little bit of praise here to Michael Bay and his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the sequel. Now, the first one was awful, but the only reason I'm giving him praise is because it's recently been leaked that, first off, Bebop and Rocksteady will be making appearances in the new film. Casey Jones will be coming in, and guess who is playing him?
No idea.
Stephen Amell.
Oh,
the Green Arrow? Yeah.
Wow, okay.
He's playing Casey Jones, which is cool. Not excited that Megan Fox is reprising her role as April O'Neil, but that's besides the point.
That's to get the teenage boys in.
They're also bringing in Krang.
Really?
They are. And see, that's why I got to give them a little bit of credit, because even in the classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that I love, the original live-action ones, it always seems to me they always had them fighting the Foot, a real clan of ninjas, real people with ninjas ability, fighting styles and everything. So not like anything supernatural, not anything mutant or whatever. It always, because it is weird, but whenever they make these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, they always seem so afraid to really embrace the turtle world because it is just so weird. They don't want to add a talking rhinoceros and a talking pig that is also humanoid, and they don't want to add a brain living inside the stomach of a giant robot built by Shredder so he could live in the Technodrome. And you know what I mean? It's strange and it's weird, but if they do it right. This could be a lot of like 1987 fun. I'm telling you.
Well, it's possible, but here's the thing: you telling me this leads me to this could very easily also turn into a Spider-Man 3 debacle.
Oh, there you go.
With too many of the characters trying to be shoehorned into the film, just so it can do a little limited fan service. So
I don't know what was. I love this. We're going on all these tangents. What was Sony's plan originally? Because they wanted to get a Sinister Six movie going before the debacle that was The Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
In The Amazing Spider-Man, Harry Osborn is walking through the halls of Oscorp. And as he's walking past these rooms, you see Doc Ock's arms, you see the Vulture's wings, you see who else is, I don't know who else is part of the Sinister Six off the top of my head, but you see those are the two kind of iconic, and then the Green Goblin suit and everything. Were they just going to hand these weapons out that are already made? Here, you're Dr. Ock now, and you're the Vulture. Here you go. Go fight Spider-Man. It always baffled me how they were ever going to adequately introduce them without completely retconning. Like I said, just grabbing a couple of thugs out of prison and saying, "There, you're Dr. Octopus now."
Maybe they already exist in the world, and this was just his idea of making an artistic representation of these things.
Well, you know what? That's dumb.
Just as fan service. Just, oh, look, see, we know about these, huh? Wink, wink.
That's dumb.
Yeah, well, I agree.
And they're dumb for doing that.
I agree. Whatever reason they did it, it's dumb. Unless you're going to have the characters in the suits, there's no point.
Yes.
So, no, dumb. But what do you want from, a big old pile of poo that was the Amazing Spider-Man? So
I'm so glad I didn't pay to see that movie.
Oh, man. I have not seen either of the new Spider-Man movies, and I'm proud of that.
I paid to see the first one, and I did not. It was awful, and I vowed that I would not give Sony any more of my money. Just like I'm not giving them any more of my money for Fantastic Four.
Ooh, yeah, that looks like a big old chunk of duty as well.
Yes,
so
it does.
I'll have to wait and reserve judgment until it's released on the world, and then I can have an opinion about it, I guess. But so yeah, there you go. We've brought up the things that were on our mind this week. Hopefully, Tony can make it back next week.
Yeah, he should be.
Because we can discuss Supergirl and anything else that happens to be on our minds at the time. So we hope you'll join us then next time for Completely Unoriginal.